Bacon Pancakes, ich mache Bacon Pancakes, nehme ein bisschen Bacon und mache es in den Pancakes. Bacon Pancakes, ganz genau so macht man die Bacon Pancakes. Bacon no pancake, pancake, bacon no zero. Bacon no pancake, bacon pancake. С беконом, я пеку с беконом. С беконом, обязательно с беконом. Блин с беконом, вот так я делаю. Блин с беконом. Bacon pancake, little bacon pancake. Cheddar bacon, I'm sure they eat me pancake. Bacon pancake, den heftig smash me. Bacon pancake.
It's 11:59 to Radio Free America. This is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I've got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the walls. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
And welcome everybody to our Daily Gun Show. Come to you live every weeknight at midnight Eastern, and we talk about guns for an hour. Oh, I guess we're a little bit late. Oh, that's because nobody was here, so I went outside with the dog. It's super crappy outside, but it's outside. You know, you got fresh air. So it's actually cooler inside tonight because we got the cooler going, but it is, anyway, we're just standing there outside. She's like dragging in an old lazy catfish, like an old tired out catfish. She don't really care about staying out there, but she's got no interest in coming back in, so I got to drag her back in. Anyway, so I guess we're a little bit after the top of the hour. We threw the link out there if anybody's going to jump in. This is a conversation, so that's what it's all about. See if anybody jumps in. Something to talk about. Otherwise, I guess I'll go look at the calendar. Calendars.com. Got a attempt to archive our history, Second Amendment history. That's interesting. So today is 17th. I didn't really even get a chance to update this thing. So I have the summer of the 17th. But anyway, we didn't have anything happen yesterday, it looks like. Tomorrow will be the first Camp Perry national match in 1907. Interesting. So the first Camp Perry match, but the first matches before that were at Claire Creedmoor in New York, and then someplace in New Jersey. And then they went to Ohio. In an effort to improve the marksmanship, so now I'm looking back at something I posted years ago about Camp Perry. First national matches were held in 1903, moved to Camp Perry in Ohio in 1907. Okay, so that's what I had in here. So even though they were started in 1907 in Ohio, they'd actually started a couple of years earlier. And so what happened is they started in New York, and I think they only gave them the land for a little while or something. So they knew they weren't going to be there very long. But then once their lease ran out or whatever, then they went to Urick or some shit in New Jersey. And then after they were in New Jersey, they outgrew it. People were going to these matches in such numbers that they had 6,000 participants or something like that, and so many spectators that they needed to move it to a bigger location. So they went up to Ohio and took over Camp Perry, started to grow Camp Perry. I guess I'm not even screen sharing. I'm just reading this sign that's at Camp Perry, I guess. I didn't see this sign when I was there, but there's a bunch of stuff I didn't see, I guess. All right, that's yawn number one. I'll just write that. Get 5, and then we'll quit tonight. All right, here we go. Somebody saying something. I got your heat and 40% humidity today. Yeah, fuck the humidity. I don't have none of that. Well, actually, we got humidity. That's why it's gross out there. I don't know what's going on, but it isn't raining. It's just sort of like misty steam out there for some reason up in the air. But it's not on the ground. It's up in the air. So I don't know what's going on up there. Somebody was boiling something and let the pot go, and it got steam up all in the atmosphere. All right, that's yawn number 2. Shit, I was just talking and the yawn happened, so boom. Anyway, I was reading the sign over here, and yeah, that's how you get to Camp Perry. So I guess that's coming up here in a day or so, or tomorrow, after tomorrow. Yeah, that's already the day after tomorrow. It's already on Wednesday. Then the Civil War will be over. I don't have everything in here, so I'm obviously not up to date on stuff. I'm supposed to have an airborne day in here, and I don't think I did. No, I did. Maybe I am up to date on stuff. Either way, it doesn't look like this week has much going on. Auto ordinance founded. Okay, well, I didn't have anything prepped for tonight, but what it is, it's a conversation, and we got 6 people out there, a couple of people chatting with each other out here, but guess we got something to chat about. I got nothing for you. I'm not here to do a dance. I'm here to have a conversation or create a place for a conversation. All right. I'm not saying you bored the crap out of me, but there's number 3 already. Trying this new banana oat nut milk weirdness. I don't know. I got to go read the label, see if it's got real banana in it. Definitely tastes like banana and oat. I don't know if I like that in coffee though. Banana and coffee. Not something I looked for, but I think the other one is just some sort of vanilla. And then what's the? I don't remember what the other one is. Overall, though, I mean, I'd drink it again if I had to, but I would not buy it again, so I won't be buying it again. It tastes like chalk, really. Ugh, now everybody left. We'll look at Instagram for a minute, I guess. Anybody's doing anything good on Instagram? BK Sonora got some sort of Scud missile model kit. It would be cool to have a remote control Scud missile thing about this big and then put something on it like a camera or something, drive around looking at stuff. Gary got some kind of gun up there. Why is Armentia keep posting booze all the time?
Joe knows what it's like to struggle, which is why he gives his personal phone number to kids overcoming a stutter of their own. Joe knows what it's like to.
Oh, that's the guy from Mad Max. He's posting some sort of song. Oh, I wonder what the hell that noise was. My cooler things about some sucking air or something. Oh, we got Joe Biden sense of smell, and then barbecue shows up.
How's it going?
Good evening.
So you're getting to deal with some humidity, you said, huh?
What's that?
So you said you're getting to deal with some humidity today.
No, I wouldn't go that far. There's something going on in the sky that isn't rain, and it isn't clouds, and it's not on the ground either. So no, I have the cooler going inside, and it's working effectively. So whatever's happening outside is not humidity, but it's not a clear, like you can't see the stars either. So I don't know what to call it. It's like, like fog would be, except where clouds are. Like it's fog in the wrong place.
Oh, that's different. It's
Yeah.
not from the forest fires you guys were having before, is it?
Oh, like smoke? It could be smoke, but it ain't smoke. Whatever it is, you can't smell it. So it ain't humidity, it ain't smoke. Or at least it doesn't. Whatever it is, you can't smell it on the ground. All right, well, I guess I'm scrolling through here.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure if it was like a smog type deal that was going on.
I imagine it's like what smog would be, but there can't be smog because of, the Democrats ruin the economy. So there's no more factories running to make smog. The fake COVID.
Yeah, it's the one thing that has been a plus is some of the amazing photos that people are taking in some of these places like Los Angeles and other places that are just horribly polluted, and how drastic of a change there has been since all this happened.
Pink is saying pollen. I think I saw a pollen warning for Phoenix. I was watching a thing about locusts. What do they call them? Plagues. And how, like regular grasshoppers, when they get the right circumstances, they change color and turn into locusts, and then like swarm up and become plagues or whatever. And that's what it probably is, because they'll get so many of them, like millions of them flying around in a big swarm, that they'll block out the sun. So that's probably what's happening. It's just you can't tell because it's dark out. There's just swarms of locusts and stuff swarming around up there, so you can't see the stars. And all it smells like is locusts. They don't have a smell of water or nothing. Although if that was happening, you'd think underneath of them, you'd feel the breeze of like all those little tiny locust wings flapping.
It is 2020 with the way this year's been. It wouldn't surprise me at all.
Well, I guess what happened is I watched this on a YouTube video that they had all this problem with these locusts over here, and their natural life cycle or whatever was to grow in a certain area or whatever, but that's the same kind of area that we would want to live in, the next to rivers and such. So as we created towns and things and lakes and all the things that we do to change the flow of rivers and the environment around rivers and stuff, we basically ended up solving the problem by killing that piece of their life cycle that was crucial. And then I guess they're just extinct. So what was like a massive issue in the 30s, 20s and 30s is, just became a non-issue. The only place, I guess, that has anything that can be an issue anymore would be Africa. Like they still have them in Africa. There's Bob out there. Well, now it's an intimate meeting with the four of us. We got Pink and Bob and Calaveras and Barbecue. It's just us four. We can talk privately. We don't have to worry about all them other people tonight. 4 people. This thing can hold like whatever. I don't know what I put on here. How do I get to the thing now? Be on YouTube. Is it going to show it to me? No. Whenever I logged in today, it said, you can have like 100 people in here. You can do whatever you want. And I don't know, you can pipe it out to like 6 different directions. So I could stream this right now, probably. Can I do it live? Oh, yes, I'm doing it live. I think I'm right now streaming this to Twitch as we're talking about. Don't tell me to upgrade. You just told me a minute ago I could just do this. Oh, they're not letting me do it midstream, I guess. But anyway, now you can go in there, and when you're launching the thing, just click a bunch of those buttons. So I'm curious if that means I can stream it to 2 YouTube channels at the same time, since I have multiple YouTube channels plugged into this thing. That'd be interesting if I can go from one duck, as it's known on the streets, El Pato. If I can go from uno El Pato, what's the word two in Spanish? Dos? No.
Dose.
No, that kind of two, like going to.
What kind of two?
The other kind of two, just the regular two.
Just like I want to do that too, you mean?
Yeah, not that kind of two, just T-O.
I think it would be
Two?
L.
That's the.
Yeah, I know it's the, but I wasn't sure if it'd be used interchangeably.
I think it's just TU. Two. So stream El Pato to, I guess it's just the same fucking word, to dose, whatever the hell, social platforms, social platformos. I believe that's what it said in Spanish. Enjoying my new village life. Oh, Bob is in a new village. So that's a community in Canada where they all share. They don't really have property anymore. I think he just brought his property and offered to the collective, and then they would just come up. Basically, Bob comes in, and puts all his belongings. If this is how I understand, he would bring in all his stuff that he had, and he just kind of went to the center of this gathering, and they would come in from wherever, from out in the grasslands or in the trees or in the rocky areas and stuff, from wherever they're living, and then they would come to this area, this communal area, and just take from Bob of what they might need. And then Bob's left there with what he deserves, which is nothing. And then he's got to then, I guess, live in that community, wait for the next guy to come along, and then maybe get another blanket from somebody and then some shoes. I'm not totally sure how this all went down, but I know he had to bring all this stuff to this community. And then somehow everything he owns is theirs or something. He's into more detail here. Just joined a new gun club in the basement of a school. What the hell kind of craziness happens in Canada? I'm assuming he's still in Canada. He might be on an island. This could be an island nation. I'm not aware of. When you get to Western Canada, past Western Vancouver, there's some island nations there that you might have joined one of their societies. The equivalent of our leper islands in Hawaii, but in Canada, like if you didn't say A enough at the end of stuff, they would put you on one of them islands. Like if you just ended sentences like this, instead of ending a sentence like this, hey, then they think like, what the hell's wrong with you? And they put you on this island. But now that they're civilized, they allow those people to just enter society and they just deal with it, I guess. Also, if you didn't learn, if you weren't fluent enough in metric, they had another island, that, like an odd-shaped island, non-symmetrical island, they put you on that. All right, I got nothing. We're done. This is 18 minutes of hell. Are we going to keep going? What's going on? Put the link out there. Barbecue joined us. He's trying to hold this whole damn thing up. It's tough. It's like holding up a tent while it's raining in the wind. And it's hot out somehow. Then it's cold on the ground or something. Just a mess. Very little return on the investment here. How am I going to get rich doing the show like this? This is crazy. And then I watch these other shows and it's like, boom, super chat. Oh, super chat. Bam. Here's something, super chat. Bam. Just to say nothing. Bam, super chat. I'm over here. All the hard work. Meet up at the local bar and they're in. I don't know what that means. What's he talking about? Oh, he's talking about this club. Oh, the club meets probably at the local bar. And then they got a gunshot range in the basement. So if you ever watch the movie, what's the name of that movie? Death Wish. Then you go to the shooting range scene in Death Wish, the movie. In the first one, not one of the other ones. I don't know how many pictures they'll have of it. But without, no, they've got one effing picture. You kidding me? One picture. And then like 6 pictures of town. Okay, there's another picture. Technically 2 pictures because this is a picture of it. This is what I modeled gun channels off of, actually. So is there any way to get that? Back one. And then go to video. No, they're not even going to have it in here. I don't know if you can get Death Wish anywhere. For a while, I think it was on like Netflix or Amazon for nothing. And I think they swap it out with the other Death Wishes occasionally. One of the very few movies you can see in AMD 65 is Death Wish 4. But in Death Wish 1, he goes to Tucson and then he goes to the basement. Well, he goes to this range, and you don't know in the movie because they don't make a point of it. But anyway, if I would be able to find pictures of it, which I haven't been able to do. This is a picture of it, but it's like the worst picture of it. Anyway, he goes to this range, and it turns out that range, the filming of that range, the actual range itself, was underneath the bleachers at U of A over here in Tucson, the University of Arizona. So where they play football, I think that's the one they're talking about. Underneath of the bleachers for that is where they filmed that movie. So that means the University of Arizona used to have a shooting team in the basement, or in a basement, I guess, technically. So that would make sense, especially since what we were talking about kind of earlier there with Camp Perry. That's all about the militia acts of 1903, which encouraged and appropriated funds to allow for the training and firearm and marksmanship. So those ranges were probably built, as part of that initiative. Love country life. So if you want to join Bob, all you got to do is bring your possessions and donate them, offer them to the community when you get there. They'll leave you with what you deserve, what you need. And then you just become part of their communal society. You just leech off of them just like them fish that suck on the side of a shark. They just swim around in a circle doing that in Canada, I think. Life's great when you have a house full of Alexia hockey pucks blasting music from the other side of the house to embarrass your daughter when she's on Xbox. So I guess you're saying you can tell it to blast music out of a different one? I've been in homes that have those things, but I don't interact with them, so I barely understand the concepts. I understand they're like little speaker microphones that listen to you and then do your bidding, but I didn't know they could do that kind of stuff. I guess that makes sense. Eventually they'll have them paddling around and be your best friend. Be like, hey, little hockey puck. Whatever. It'll be like mix between Twiggy and the little professor robot that was a hockey puck on his chest. Or maybe they'll make a little tiny Twiggy, and then that'll carry around a little hockey puck for you. Right. Are we done? Is this over? Seems like I'm saying that twice now.
You're not yawning anymore, are you?
Yeah, I've been drinking this coffee, sucking on the ice cubes of this coffee. But when it's like pulling teeth, like pulling teeth.
Yeah, I mean, we can only make fun of Canadians for so long.
I'm just saying how it is, how I understand my from my experience living in Canada or visiting Canada, never technically lived.
I feel like Canadians probably kick ass with a weed whacker just because it's kind of hockey stick shaped.
I don't know. My experience, they don't cut things down like that. They got time for that. Canadians are pretty chill. I'm only giving them shit because they're pretty chill. They're cool. Patriot Radio, only station I got. Sent me a free one for doing a review of some products. Whatever. The next Google, whatever is better. Okay. Pants is out there with an ASA logo. I'm mostly eating ice over here.
So, do you have any good recommendations on how to sew leather?
What's the situation?
What's that?
In what situation? Like, I'm going to go into business selling holsters or what?
No, I'm not going into business or anything. Just making a custom holster for the mare's leg that I got, and wasn't sure if I should just go with a heavy duty needle and pair of needle nose to try and shove it through, or if I should stamp out all the holes first and then weave it through. Wasn't sure if you had any experience.
Well, I'm eating ice and my teeth are super cold and I got ice in my mouth.
Although it'd be kind of badass if after I made this, people are like, man, I really like that. And I'd be like, all right, well, I'll make you one too. I don't care. But I don't see that happening.
After my teeth turned like gummy bears, they have the consistency of a gummy bear. I have to eat ice every once in a while to get them cold so that they get to be frozen, so that they get to be more like teeth.
There you go.
I got to do that every once in a while when I mute. That's what I'm doing, is eating ice so that my teeth don't gum up on me. Anyway, so yeah, so you can I would say go to another place and get a bunch of their scraps, because it's like not very expensive at all. I think it was almost nothing to get like a big big grocery bag full of leather scraps. And then once you got them, you're going to get different types of leather in there, because it's just all the scraps from everybody's projects that they do at the place. And then you get all kinds of practice. So there's this thing that, you know what a spur looks like for like the olden days when you would spur a horse to do stuff, cowboys? Yeah. So it's like a pizza cutter with a Chinese star in there. So you get this gizmo that looks sort of like a cross between a screwdriver and a cowboy spur. And then you get your leather all wet and you run that thing down there. And it's sort of like running a paint roller or a pizza cutter. But what you're going to get, because it looks like a Chinese star and not like a round pizza cutter, is you're going to end up getting as you're rolling it, you're going to get a dot every so often at a regular interval, right? It's going to leave like a dot in the leather. Like
yep.
An impression or an indentation or whatever. You buy one of them things, and then you just get used to running that thing, you know, about a 1/4 inch or an 1/8 inch, whatever your distance is from the edge of the leather. And then that gives you the consistent holes or what. And then you just buy that deal that looks like a piece of wood handle with a big like nail sticking out of it, or a heavy duty needle sticking out of it. And then
like
it has
like a scratch awl.
Yeah, they look like a awl, but they got a spool of thread in the handle, and there's like this kind of So you buy those things, and they can't cost you $7 or $10 new, I would imagine. I haven't ever bought one since I was a little kid because they last forever. But it's basically an awl with a little extra work done to it so that it can hold a heavy duty thing, a cord in the handle, like thread in the handle. So anyway, yeah, you're gonna act like the sewing machine. So you're gonna jam that thing through there like an awl, so you don't have to use pliers or nothing. You can just jam that needle through there. You do all the like work to tie up the knot or whatever, and then you pull the needle back through. There's like 6 different ways you can deal with the knots and the stitching or whatever it's called.
Awesome.
But that's one way. Otherwise, I've seen a video for a contraption that you buy off the internet, and it's sort of like an old timey sewing machine where you like move the thing up and down by hand, like by some kind of old fashioned wheel you turn. So it's not like it's a sewing machine, but it's not like it's connected to electricity, so it's going at some speed. As you crank it, that's the speed it goes. And those things are only like $100-$200. And if you're going to do any number of things, like if you're going to do a couple of things, it sounds like that's the way to go. Because then then you get a sewing machine like effect or product, but you got a machine that barely costs you any money to buy. It's kind of big, but if you're going to do more than one thing with leather, that's the way I definitely recommend looking at one of those machines, because that's just all the benefit of the sewing machine without paying for the waste of money on the electricity and all the rest that makes it expensive. But the needle and the whatever mechanism makes it tie the knot right, that's all the part you need from the sewing machine. And then I guess it's souped up to be able to do leather. I think they said they can do 10 sheets of leather, or was it 10 pieces of denim and some amount of leather? I forget, but it was capable of doing pretty much anything any normal person. I think it's made for sails or for saddles or some industrial or, commercial type of level.
Yeah, that's nuts that it could go through that much material. Holy cow.
Huh?
So that's nuts that it could go through that much material.
Yeah, but I guess I'm just saying, if you're thinking about doing something that, okay, I'm going to do one, and then, okay, maybe I'll do 2 or 3. Well, now you're taking $100 and something and distributing it over 3 things.
Yep.
The materials don't cost nothing, but now your level of return is going to look way better. And then you got that for the future. If you ever want to make something or you need something, you've got that, not just that skill in your toolbox, but you got the actual tool. And then you could run around sewing stuff all the time. So anyway, I don't know. But I'm thinking like I got one of those umbrellas handed down to me that you'd stick in like the middle of like a patio table or something outside for like sun or rain. And it's all ripped up. And I'm like, okay, great. But, I can't sew that thing on my grandma's old sewing machine. It doesn't have enough gap between where the needle goes up and down. It wouldn't fit in there. Angelina's asking how old you are. What? That's an odd question.
Who, me? Did you mute yourself, G?
Oh, I was saying Howl at the Moon. If you're looking for a holster maker, Howl at the Moon. And that's once you hear the return howl, you'll start hearing or you'll get in touch with the holster maker. Before that, I was saying Angelina put in here, hey dude, how old are you? So she's asking somebody how old they are. Weird. Put a link on here. Well, if it keeps up at this pace, I'm not going to be able to keep chewing ice because I'm going to run out of ice. I'm going to have to go fill this thing up.
I thought I was going to die one day because I chewed ice in front of the wrong person. I had a trainee when I was driving truck and playing truck driver trainer, who apparently did not like ice being chewed. I didn't know this. So he's driving down the road. I'm sitting in the passenger seat, just making sure he doesn't kill us or anything. And I run out of water, so I dump some ice in my mouth and I chew it. And he takes both hands off the wheel, covers his ears while we're doing 65 mile an hour down the friggin' interstate, and looks over at me. And he just keeps looking, and I'm like, "You gonna go back to driving anytime soon? Because we're about to die."
Yeah,
He's like, "I hate ice
that
cream." What's that?
sounds like mental issue.
Oh man, it struck him very deeply. I was like, "Holy cow!" Note to self: don't chew ice in front of him anymore, because I thought for sure we were gonna die. Solid 3 or 4 seconds, his eyes were off the road, covering his ears.
Yeah, I've had people that don't like that kind of shit, and it's like, all right, I can understand it. I don't like listening to people being weird or whatever either on a regular basis. But if it's like, you know, oh, I've never heard you chew ice before, and whenever you're done doing that, you're probably never going to do it again, then you don't need to stop the world and make everybody aware of the fact you don't like to hear ice chewed or whatever. But yeah, I could totally understand that. There's times when that could be like chalk on or fingernails on a chalkboard for somebody, I suppose.
Yeah, I feel like Enzo from Lethal Weapon decided to torture him when he was a child with that.
Oh, you know what? Lethal Weapon was on that show earlier today. I think I watched the first one, and I could tell it was just blatant 9mm worship, and it was some sort of an attempt to get the Beretta 9mm, moved over to the window and get that bull crap, into society more. I quit watching that franchise, so I don't understand most references to it. Okay, Anthony's joining in. I'm gonna take this opportunity, go get something to drink, so I quit chewing on ice cubes.
All right.
So what's going on here?
Well, G was chewing ice. You jumped in, and he decided to go get something so he doesn't chew on ice anymore. Other than that, I think he's leaving the show in your hands at the moment.
I think he left because I joined in.
Yeah, he left it all in your control. I think we can make fun of Biker Bob for being in Canada, or we can talk about patches, or just wait for G to come back from getting a drink.
Well, I don't make fun of Bob because Bob's like the shit. But I miss Bob. Where is Bob here? Bob, where you at?
He wasn't. Yeah, he was saying how he moved to a new village or something. When I talked to him a couple weeks ago, I thought he said his new place is across from the pool or something. So being summertime, he's got quite the view.
What, guys in Speedos?
I guess.
That's what
if that's the thing.
In Canada, it is. All those European types.
Although playing hockey in a Speedo would probably be badass.
Probably be kind of gross.
Only if you're body checking each other.
I don't know, like dicks and Speedos, like Speedo bulge is like fucking gross. At least to me. Like,
what are we talking about?
Speedos. I didn't bring it up then.
I thought we were talking about Canadian swimming pool.
Oh.
I got bad experience with Canadian swimming pools. I was at a Canadian hotel as a child, and I was out swimming in what I thought was a hot tub, but it turns out it's the Canadian swimming pool version of a bidet, and it was gross, and I'm never going to swim in Canada.
Did it have like a sprayer on it?
It's tragic. I don't want to talk about it. Brings back memories. Just say, don't go to hotels and just assume nothing. Don't assume nothing in any Canadian hotel.
Oh, you can't. Next thing you know, you wake up like covered in maple syrup with your ass bleeding.
Sounds like a personal story.
All right, so what's Patriots say out here? Like the hockey team on the movie Strange Brew. Double-ended hockey sticks. Do they have double-ended hockey sticks? I guess I kind of remember that movie. I remember the movie. I don't remember the hockey part of it too much. I never really watched hockey, so whenever they were doing hockey stuff, I never got any of those like jokes, or I guess I wasn't paying that much attention to that part of it. Y'all see Strange Brew ever? That movie?
No, you know I've never seen it.
What? But Strange Brew's from the 80s. Is it John Candy?
Oh, is it John Candy?
No, you know what it is? It's Bob and Doug McKenzie. So I don't know if you know them or not. If you've never seen the movie, I don't know if they did anything else. But they were from, I think they were from the Canadian thing that went to Chicago that, you know, was the opposite of, or like the other side of Saturday Night Live. So it's some of that crew. Anyway, it was their movie. But it's about these two dudes who are brothers, and they go to a castle where they're brewing beer, and it's mind control, and it's pretty much like Stripes or Uncle Buck or one of those kind of movies. Maybe a little bit earlier than Uncle Buck, more like Stripes or something. It's from the late 70s, early 80s. But it's a movie super worth watching if you haven't seen it. That's interesting. I never thought about it. It's one of those things that probably because it was on cable, like everybody saw it, or it was just that good. See, look, somebody was barking at the moon, and Ozzy shut up. Anyway, I was thinking how many movies that, like, you've seen Ghostbusters, but have you seen Weird Science?
Is that the one with the kids and the woman?
Yeah, like the two dudes who are nerds or whatever go to their room one night and make a girl, and she's, I forget, Kylie LeBrock or somebody?
Have seen that.
You have or have not?
I have seen that.
So that's the kind of thing, or like Back to the Future. Like there's some movies from whatever era where you just assume people have seen it. You've seen Caddyshack or no?
No.
What about barbecue?
No.
Yes, absolutely love Caddyshack.
What about well, how about instead of trying to pick a whole bunch of them, you seen any of, you know, when Caddyshack is from, Angelina? Like
No,
70s.
idea.
It's like Chevy Chase and Dan Aykroyd and them kind of people.
Oh, them lot. I don't think I've seen anything. Well, what
It
are
would be
the
like a little after Animal House, I guess, but before Uncle Buck for sure. Before, anyway, so it would be like one of those kind of movies. If nobody's seen any of those kind of movies, then I guess I can understand not seeing Strange Brew. But it's like Strange Brew was, how to say, like if there was the movies that were at the movie theater, and then there was the movies that you made sure you saw on VHS. I guess that was the difference. Like nowadays, it would be like the movies that make it to the movie theaters and movies that go straight to Amazon or something. It was sort of like that, if I remember right. If it was ever in the movie theaters, it was like in 4 theaters where these guys lived, and that was it. Like it was never a big movie, I don't think. But after the fact, like once it got around on VHS, like everybody seen it because it's just hilarious. And it's weird. It's like Stripes. But I guess, did you say you never seen Stripes?
Does that have Bill Murray in it?
Yeah. That's the one where they join the army or they get drafted or something, and they get at the end there's an RV.
I've seen like pieces of it.
It's that kind of comedy though. Like you almost have to just, I guess it's like maybe Blues Brothers. You seen Blues Brothers or no?
I have seen Blues Brothers.
So Blues Brothers, one of them things, like unless you were alive back then, half the fucking jokes like Illinois Nazis, that might be funny for somebody just because the 2 words put together. But when you lived back then and you know what the news was all about, you know, that was like a joke about news of the day or whatever. So that kind of stuff would probably be lost on people who didn't weren't paying attention or whatever. Because I'll watch movies where I was too young to know the news, and I know they're saying something about it, but you know what I mean? Like you just know that it's just some joke about it like that.
Right.
Anyway, so if you, I don't know, I'd say if you're interested in watching a movie from back in the day, it's definitely got some potential to be nostalgic, like have all kinds of interesting, like nostalgic stuff from it. Pretty much like a Ghostbusters or Stripes or something, where there's just so many little jokes and things. I would almost say that damn it, what the hell's the name of the movie now we're talking about? Strange Brew is one of those movies that other movies make refer to. So it might actually be whatever that's called when it's like double, it's like folded into the society, where people may not realize that they're making fun of something that comes from that because they're so used to it. Like Cheers, when Norm comes in, at least for a while, everybody would say Norm. And people knew to say Norm when somebody would walk into a place, but that doesn't mean that they all watched Cheers. They just knew that was a thing to do when people walked in that were regulars, to say Norm or whatever.
But it was from Cheers.
Yeah. You never watched Cheers?
No. Because that was kind of like, that was like what was on late at night when like everything else was off TV.
And you had options or no? Like if you had options, I can't imagine watching Cheers if you had something else you could watch that would be even palatable. Like I can't imagine watching Cheers, especially after it's over. Like watching it as history, I can't imagine watching Cheers.
Yeah, so this was probably like 1994, 95, and like ER was on. So I watched that.
Well, no, in the 90s, you could still, there wasn't, maybe at the end of the night, like cable would get fewer things on, but there was always options. You could, even pretty much all through the 90s, you could take a remote control and watch something different. Even if it was few options, you had options. And then most people had VHS tapes still. It was, I mean, nowadays, I guess people probably still have DVDs and stuff. But people had pretty massive VHS collections still in the 90s, at least people I know. But yeah, so I can't imagine watching Cheers. Cheers was only funny like when it was that, or Elkie and Perfect Strangers or whatever was on the other channel, and it was like, well, I can watch garbage or I can watch like fresh food, but neither one is going to be good.
I do still watch the Golden Girls though, all the time.
In real time when they were on? No way.
When they were on, I think I was too young to like really care or remember, but I watch all the time now.
What are your feelings about St. Elmo's Fire? Good or bad? At the time, I wasn't into that. People, so I don't think I even watched it. I might have watched it once, and then I might have watched it twice since then, and I don't think I got it. It was, wasn't it about like the idea of a bunch of rich people having a hard time? I never got into movies that were like trying to be sympathetic to rich people dealing with their shitty, boring lives, being ineffective and useless.
I always thought.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I always thought the song was catchy.
Good song. So wasn't Rob Lowe in St. Elmo's Fire? Because I love me some Rob Lowe.
That was the Brat Pack, so it was one of their movies. I don't remember who all was in it, but they were all involved in it, and they were probably all hanging out together during filming of it, from what I understand. But Woods was there on location. He could probably tell us more. Talking about the filming of St. Elmo's Fire. Sometimes when you bring up some of this stuff, he has to get choked up. It's emotional. What I asked. But Woods was there on location. Somebody tell us more. Oh, he's got some crazy lag going on. Talking about the filming of St. Elmo's Fire.
I remember, I'm old enough to remember the movie in real time, but like you had to go to the theater and watch it.
Some of the stuff he has to. This is what it's like if you get a time machine, but you didn't follow instructions. You just get it in the mail from like China or whatever, and you're like, right on, I got my time machine. You start fiddling with the dials. This is what it's going to be like. Sure, you shifted in time, but only like 15 seconds and just enough to make it so you don't know what the hell's going on.
Okay, is it better now?
I don't know. Yeah, I think so. 1, 2, 3.
Eyes on me.
I don't know. I guess that worked.
Sorry, it's a teacher thing.
So, speaking of that, you're not allowed to say sit Indian style anymore? That's not a thing?
Oh, yeah, especially since I work for a native school.
What the fuck? So that's like offensive?
Well, they actually don't care. They would just think it's funny because they're not all that butthurt about shit like that.
That's what I was going to say. Unless things, I guess things must have changed, but yeah, I didn't know anybody that ever had a issue.
Well, they call it crisscross applesauce.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes.
And then you put your hands in the bowl.
What does that mean?
Yep.
You put your hands in your lap. When my kids came home and told me this, I was like, what? What happened to Indian style? Like, it's crisscross applesauce, Dad. You put your hands in your bowl. I was like, all right.
That just makes me mad. But you would think that they would be trying to stop stress. Instead, they're making more stress.
I thought you were supposed to put your keys in the bowl.
I've heard both.
What are your hands, your keys?
Wait, what is this about?
Sit Indian style.
Oh, never mind then.
Cheers was better than Bosom Buddies than Canadians. Rob Lowe was the addict.
Rob Lowe's got a pretty good podcast called Literally. Pretty funny.
Oh, really? He's still kicking?
Yeah, from his character in Parks and Rec.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I'm thinking. Oh, so he's all weird like that?
Well, I mean, he's always been a weird dude, but I mean, he's pretty straightforward about like when he was a kid, he fucked up and like he swung his dick all over Hollywood and made a lot of bad choices. And now he's an old man and he's like, I made mistakes. So, hey, some of us did that. We're good.
Oh, so not in character. I thought you meant like weird, like the character in that show. Put the dog in the basket. Are you? Do you listen to Rob Lowe's podcast on Angelina?
Yes. Like West Wing. He's in West Wing. Great fucking show.
I never even watched that show. I think I've seen things that alluded to it, but I don't think I've ever showed clips of it or something, but I don't think I've ever seen it.
It's a great show. Great show.
Sometimes, I don't know, I guess things that are about like a fake, because they're about a fake president, right? Like some similarity to an existing president, but like not Obama or Clinton or anybody, right? It's just some fake, like usually things are okay, but at the same time, I don't know.
Josiah Bartlett is my ideal American president now. That's Martin Sheen as the president. He's such like a little nugget.
Have we thought about just having him be president? 'Cause I think he could probably do a pretty good job.
Martin Sheen has perfect president hair. Changed my mind. I can't.
What about a female president? That would be goofy hair on a female president.
Are we really ready for a female president? I don't know. Not trying to be like a.
You ain't woke?
No, I'm not woke. I'm not trying to be like a gender hater, but like I mean, there's not a lot of good options, so I don't know.
Some old lady in like a robe. not super frail. I don't want some like lady that jogs all the time because then she thinks she's better than everybody. But not somebody totally frail.
2 words, Betty White.
Yeah, I would do that. I would do
Done.
that. You know, Jo Jorgensen, she plays hockey and drinks bourbon.
Carries a cig.
Oh, does she?
Yep.
Interesting choice.
What state is she from?
I don't know.
Does she have like a job now?
Yeah, she's a professor at a college, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
She's a nerd.
She's got a PhD.
She was born in Illinois, or Illinois for those that are cultured.
People that say Illinois or whatever are just like people that just drink like regularly. But then people that say Illinois is just like when you stick your pinky in here because you got culture, refinement, pride in your.
Wants to get rid of the ATF entirely.
Clint is saying Sheena's a raging leftist. That's what I was going to say. Is that guy pro-gun?
No, I'm sure he's a fucking raging leftist. He's a
He
Hollywood.
probably is, yeah. And Ron Swan, the guy that plays Ron Swanson's even worse of a raging leftist.
Yeah, he's like not even a glimmer of libertarian. He's just a full-on bedwetting liberal.
The guy who plays Ron Swanson, that's just like he's making fun of people when he does that shit. That thing, right?
The only thing that's accurate is his ability to actually work on wood. He actually does make all that stuff.
Yeah, he's got a wood shop out here in LA.
But like pretentiously and like, oh, you shouldn't be using that wood because the blah blah that wood comes from the wrong kind of forest and the humidity of that wood isn't right. And I like this.
Makes canoes the whole bit.
He seems like kind of like a down-to-earth guy, but I mean, he's a raging liberal, so. I'm trying to put multicam tropic pants on a zombie.
Yeah, I don't get that. So is that supposed to be like they're not very good at being boogaloo and they got ate by a zombie, or this zombie is the boogaloo?
It's for Halloween. So it's a zombie themed. He's also wearing Adidas because 3 Stripe Life.
Well, I figure that's some gang thing. I'm not familiar with how the gang sign affiliation thing you got to do either obligatorily or whatever associations you have there in your neighborhood or what.
Well, it's for the Slav gang.
The what?
The Slav game.
Oh, snap. I didn't even think about it from that angle.
But he's got, I thought he should have an AK, but I got outvoted. So he has some, lame AR, but.
I didn't get a vote. Shotgun all the way.
What?
Well, I'm gonna do a little Halloween series where I do this fucking zombie. I might do a vampire and maybe a skeleton. So I feel like one of them's got to have a shotgun because, and then one will have an AK.
When the zombie apocalypse happens, are we gonna have to worry about a bunch of naked zombies running around?
It depends on when you turn to a zombie.
Once you're a zombie, you don't really have any ambition to do anything about it, right? So it's just like whatever happened or whatever stage you were at the time you got turned over.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of worried about now. Just could be all these zombies running around butt naked. Thank God I'm blind at that point.
You have to find out if they're male or female by touch.
Pass.
Oh gosh, just you go to touch it and your hand just goes into what would be what mushy dog poop. Ew.
I don't know. I don't know what it's gonna feel like, but you'll have to tell us. Report back.
Be like
Yeah.
applesauce in a body bag.
Angelina, what gun would a vampire carry then?
I don't know. He might have the shotgun.
I don't know. Is it like an old timey vampire or like one of these more modern day vampires? Because I think if it's an old timey vampire, give him like an old black powder revolver would be pretty neat.
Well, then he wouldn't be like tactical. He's got to be tactical to match the zombie.
Gotcha.
Because they got to be like their little ghoul crew. Oh my god, that's what I should call it. The ghoul crew.
Nailed it.
Yeah, nailed it. Happened. Remember when didn't I make that AR patch on Daily Gun Show?
The one where you had the join or die?
Yeah.
Oh, Pants has got a good idea. Pepper box for the vampire.
That'd be pretty neat.
Do that.
Way to go, Pants.
Yeah, that's not tactical still. That's old-timey steampunk or whatever.
He could have it like as his backup. Like a thigh rig with that in there.
What about just like shoved in his belt?
His vampire belt. Well, he's gonna have a cape on now, probably.
Hey, any of you know anything about 1851 Navy Colt revolvers? A local shop has one. He says it's a second generation. I looked up the serial number on it, and it says it was made in 1853, and I'm trying to figure out exactly when the second generation of these was made, because I'm thinking if it's in 1851, and this one was, Colt is saying it was made in 1853, I'm thinking that's good possibility still a first generation.
You can call Colt and they'll probably have pretty good info on it.
That's what I thought, but the only phone number I can find is to the corporate office, and nobody wants to answer a phone. But when I looked up the serial number, it came up with the exact description of the gun and everything, but it doesn't say, first model or first generation or whatever, or anything like that.
I'm pretty sure Colt gave all of that to Cody Firearms Museum, so they do the letter lookups and all that stuff. But I don't know if they are down for just answering questions for people. But on the other hand, if it's the stuff they just know off the top of their head, I have no idea what volume of info is just at their call off the top of their head like that.
Yeah, the serial number is in the 22,000s. Like I said, Colt website, when I did their serial number lookup, said it was made in 1853, and it gave a 100% description of the gun, so I could actually, if you didn't have the serial number, I guess still try and identify it. But I was actually surprised at how in-depth the description was on their site.
The only other thing is maybe I know the people at Rock Island auctions are super knowledgeable about stuff, but again, I don't know if they don't lend them. They don't have a thing that says, "Hey, just whenever you have any random question, call us" or anything. But on the other hand, if you have a specific question and you're able to get it to the right person, that might be the kind of thing they just, "Oh, I know that. Here, tell the guy the answer," where it's not going to take some kind of research or something.
Yeah, I'm thinking either way. I'm just going to have to go pick this thing up. Whether it's a first gen or a second gen isn't going to matter. The fact that it's an actual Colt made in 1853, I'll never stumble upon one of those again in my local shop, I'm sure.
I wouldn't say that. You got the potential for, right now at least, a bunch of people will set aside all the weirdness that's going on this particular year, but the generations are changing. So as people from the baby boom generation, there's a shit ton of them, start to die off and change their economic status and this and that, that's a heck of a lot of collections are going to be available.
That
And
is
those people that collected a bunch of stuff that is like that, you know, like they're going to find that kind of stuff valuable, and who knows what's going to become available. And I mean, we're talking a massive generation difference, a third of the voting population. So I haven't looked at how much of the actual population is about to die, but a really big, I mean, that was a swell, you know, so that's going to be a really big chunk of the population isn't going to exist in 20 years or something. So in the next few, I would assume we're going to see a lot of interesting shit hit eBay or Gun Broker or whatever. All right, well, dead air. So I don't get paid nothing for dead air. Talking about canoes over here earlier. Patriots talking about seeing real live Indians make a dugout canoe to paddle Seattle. So I don't know where they were, but I've seen people dig out canoes out of trees too, because that doesn't take that long. And I've just seen people do it. I don't know if they were necessarily doing it for a goal like that or just to have them. But Wood said something about that.
The school I work for, they have a bunch of them, and they paddle all the way to Vancouver Island every year, except for this year. And they're big. They're like huge. They're like 40 feet long.
So they're making them out of redwoods. Every year they chop down a new redwood just to make a boat, and they throw the boat.
I don't know. I know they probably just Western cedar. It's like cedar sacred.
How far are we talking? Like miles or a couple hundred yards?
Oh, how far do they paddle them?
Yeah.
They paddle them from Puget Sound all the way to Vancouver Island to meet the Lummi Nation.
So it's
and
like
Lummi is the other way. Yeah, it's, I don't know, 200 miles.
Oh, 200 miles. All right, I guess that's okay. I'm right with that. I don't like that they chop down a new tree and throw away the boat every year. Whatever.
Well, they have people follow them in boats and, like, you know, make sure everybody's safe and all.
Alarm is out there. So we've got a bunch of ideas for your patches or whatever. I feel like you got mansplained, but not mansplained like all the way. So we could probably mansplain those patches better.
Like a half mansplain?
That would be boysplained.
Yeah, I can see that.
Teensplained. Paddle around the ocean and going around the ocean. Paddle to Seattle. Going around the ocean. I don't know what Patriot's saying here. I don't know enough of this geographies.
I think they started on the coast. I think they started on the coast down by like the Columbia River and then went around the peninsula back into the Puget Sound.
What else we got? Boom. It is now an hour in. You know my philosophy. If I don't make at least $100 an hour on this show, it's a waste of time. Anything else?
Yeah, sorry, I got nothing.
Nothing.
I feel like these other shows I watch, they just get all these super chats. Boom. Super chat money. Boom. Super chat money. Where's my super chat money? You got 15 people. Should we get
You can do that too, G. You just have to sell your soul.
Ooh, where you put there? You go. Craigslist or what? eBay? I got eBay.
How much is the soul?
That's back page material.
Here's what's going to happen. We'll go off air, and then we'll all sit around chatting for like 2 hours about interesting shit that y'all will be like not even aware that you're missing out on. And I blame the audience because they're not the ones out there and skating. That's what it's all about. Conversation. 15 people. So let's count who's all out there. We know Patriots out there. DJ's out there. The Well Armed is out there. Clint, Pink, and DTP and Pants. That's it. Everybody else is in here. And Ozzy. That's it. So the rest of these people, who knows who they are? I don't think robots show up on here necessarily. When the robots are looking, you don't know. They're kind of like owls. They're there. But well, not this owl. But the other kind of owls that just sit on a tree looking. So what's up with that hip new mascot for the youth? Are you going for the youth patch market with your new mascot?
Yeah, you like that? Like my street?
No, I'm not a youth. To me, it just seems, I'm going to be cranky about it. To me, it seems like it's, what? Like, why is that owl got shoes on? I don't understand.
Turn down that music. It's too loud. I can hear it from here.
Why has he got a skateboard?
He's got a rifle. And he's wearing Adidas. Because, again, 3 stripes life. That's my new, So backstory, I fucking hate my logo. Like, I just hate it. It's just, I hate everything about it. But I can't change it at this point because it's like on way too much shit. People know it. Like, it would just, no, we're not doing it. So I'm keeping it. But I figured, let's have some fun with the Allen Anchor logos. So I've been doing like remixed logos, I guess we'll call them. So like I did a Run DMC patch that's coming. It says Run O&A, so that's comical. And then a fucking Ninja Turtles one, dude. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Ninja Turtles one, because I'm doing like a little Ninja Turtles series thing. And then I think I'm gonna do like a Ghostbusters ghost owl, no ghost thing. I don't know. I'm still playing with that. But yeah, I got this little like aggressive looking owl with a rifle and nods on and shoes. But when you think about it, how would an owl really wear shoes? Because birds have like a weird foot. So you'd need like a weird shaped shoe, like a very short and wide shoe.
Well, they got 2 things. So they'd either have something going out the back or something. Or they'd curl that under or something.
Oh, yeah, the back toe. I forgot all about that. Anyway, this owl's got like human feet. So imagine like half owl, half person. Because it has hands too. But the head of an owl.
Well, if you look at the bones in a wing, it's a hand, right?
Yeah, but it's not a hand like this thing's like got its hand wrapped around like the stock of a rifle, like holding it.
Well, I'm just saying a hand makes a wing turn it into a hand makes sense. That's not makes sense.
Yeah, it could. See, I did that, and then I did like a 90s logo that's gonna be it's all glow. So like the intention of Blank Patch was where it's just like the black and then everything else glows. That'll be like that.
Are you already thinking of 21 or 2021 stuff?
For SHOT Show or just for like
Yep. Yep.
Kinda, but I'm undecided on if I'm even gonna go. They haven't it's been a long time since I've gotten any SHOT Show updates.
Because they did a thing about, what do they call that thing? The university? No, did you go to the university last time?
No. Because it's somewhere weird. It was in like Florida or something.
No, well, yeah, I was in like Reno, but what's their faces went, and we
Yeah.
heard from them all about what it was like, and I was halfway thinking, not I don't know, either about going or going to review it, basically, like going but not necessarily attend it. If that makes sense,
Hmm.
because it'd be an excuse to go do something, and then maybe they would like pay for a hotel or something if I was reviewing it. Like that'd be a scam to get like a trip to wherever it is, because I think they said it was going to be in Vegas. But anyway, because the other thing would be to see what's going on. Because now, whenever you know what I'm talking about, that is it university or some kind of club or whatever the fuck they called that pre thing that happens this time of year, where they get you together.
Yeah, SHOT Show University.
So they were talking about that, and they said something like in the new or like now in the, and then whatever they called the Caesars, whatever. And I'm like, well, that's the first time I've heard it phrased that way, because before it's been in the new or in the sands with the expanded Caesars protrusion or whatever the fuck they called it. But now this time that was phrased, like a hiccups, it was phrased differently, and that was making me think: is it going to just be in the new side now, or like I don't know. But anyway, so those are a bunch of questions. Plus, well, I guess like you said, I guess we don't know if it's really going to happen. I think it will, but you can't. Well, you certainly can't wait until much longer to find out. You have to, the deal. You have to get going at some point here to have the stuff in hand by the time it actually happens. You don't just blink your eyes and these things happen.
Yeah, and like I really want to do a booth again because that worked out pretty good and all that. So I was thinking about doing maybe it'll say like just 2021 on it or something. And like if SHOT Show happens, I'll give them out there. If not, I'll find some other way to like give them out. Because you gotta, like you said, you can't like sit on it, especially like how shit gets me with SHOT Show with like making everyone else's shit.
Well, that's the thing, exactly. Like you can wait, but then you're just susceptible to all the what's the word, like compromises you got to make when you're in line with so many other people. At some point, you don't get many edits because there's no time left, or it's just not the right time to be the squeaky wheel. Sometimes you just need, and when you're far enough lead time, you make everything perfect. But the other thing, not so much for all that side of it, but then to get on the other end of it, have you thought about it to the point of what you might want to make it do or look like, or because you were talking about designs before, and I guess that's where I got led into that. Like, is any of the stuff that you're working on now anything to do with that, or?
Kinda. I have a couple. So, okay. So, how I was doing them after like Vegas signs?
Right.
So, I've been like sign shopping. So, I'm trying to find probably like a vintage or like more vintage of a sign because that's like my theme, I guess, now. And then, go from there. But then it's like if it's not happening, then you just have this sign patch. But they would match all my well, not all my other ones, but the other two.
And I guess specifically booths, they say SHOT Show on them, so that's the big thing. They just like say if they just were like blah 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 2020, then or 2021, I guess, then who cares? You can just have them and use them for the rest of the year.
Well, the SHOT Show patches actually like even are kind of popular, even with people that don't attend the show. I saw an Allen Anchor SHOT Show patch, one of the original, the one that's all the different colors, for sale for $20. Someone is asking $20 for that thing.
Really? Did you buy it and then like ding them on eBay and then return it and then get mad at PayPal that you didn't get the money fast enough, so you got double the money back and then kept the item just to screw with them for trying to profit off your design?
I didn't, but I wanted to be like That's fucking crazy that someone's selling it, but it'll be even crazier if somebody buys it, because, like, you know, I mean, it's a cool patch, but it's not that cool.
But that is neat when there's stuff that's unavailable or whatever, and SHOT Show focused or what. Plus, it's a cool looking one. So, if you're gonna, some of them are dumb. They just technically were SHOT Show patches. I don't know what people are thinking sometimes. I don't know if they're intentionally trying to make them dumb looking, or they just don't put that much effort in, or it's like a group thing, maybe a committee that can make things look pretty bad sometimes, I guess.
From my experience with like people in their patches, a lot of time they don't really have like an art department or something like that. So it's just like, here's a generic copy of my logo, and they don't put any like the people that do like fun SHOT Show patches, like the big Tic Tac one, like shit like that. Like they're not doing fun stuff. They're just doing like generic logos.
They didn't go to some like manufacturer and say, make me a Tic Tac thing that has guns in it. Like there's no way they would have got that amount of result from that amount of effort. Like that was somebody who passionately wanted to make the coolest patch for SHOT Show and went to like ultimate level of detail, right? Like putting all the different stuff in there. And then, at that level of detail, you send it out and get it back. And you're like, nope, let's change this and this and this and this and this, because I wanted it to be like that. And then they'll change it. And with that level of detail, that big a patch, I'll bet you that might have gone back and forth a couple of times easily until they got it to where they wanted it. But yeah, that's definitely different than where it's like you say, like, here, I got this sketch on a napkin. Go ahead and make that. I don't need to see the samples. Just give me the final product. Whatever it looks like will work.
Yeah, it's very, and can you imagine how much that patch cost at that size?
Tic Tac one?
Yeah.
And what was that? That was Canic. That is how you know that those guns cost too much. It's like a $5 patch, right?
Hell, even if you're buying like 500 of those things, it's got to be like $6, $7.
No. You didn't get a chance to go down there. I'm thinking they had to have thousands. There's no way 500 would have been gone in like a moment in SHOT Show. Like for it to have been there as many times as I walk by there and they're still out there, even if there's no way I just happen to see the only ones that were out there, because every time I go by there was like 3 or 4 out there. It was not possible to get a bunch because of the way they were rationing them, but then they were everywhere too. So I'm thinking thousands, but yeah, like even then, $5 easy. It's just forever. And then the shipping, who cares how many you bought? Because the shipping on that is what you can get them for 25 cents, but the shipping on that would cost you
$100
alone. Like it's crazy. I can't even think of the shipping on how many of those they must have got. I don't even. That's crazy. So yeah, I don't even know how much money they make in that company bill for something like that. It almost seems like you wouldn't even want to put that much into that. And that wasn't their only patch. They had other ones, and other ones were good too. If I remember right. Like that was certainly this was a good year for SHOT, but that was one of the reasons it was a good year for SHOT.
Yeah, there's a lot of good patches out.
Speaking of that, I was going to do SHOT Show in July, but now it's August, so it's going to be SHOT Show in August. Because I didn't buy nothing. I got a bunch of ones that I traded or whatever. Let's just say I got them. I got them somehow or another from SHOT Show.
Acquired.
And yeah, let's just say that I own them now. That's all that matters. Anyway, I put some of them aside that I just never. I think I had put like collections of them, like like the ones that were super unobtainable that I didn't want, I put in a pile, and then the ones that were pretty rare, but I had doubles of or something I didn't want them. Those were in another pile. And then like all the ones that were not all that great or common or whatever were in another pile. And then Patreons of people picked out of there, Free Patch Friday and stuff picked out of there. And then there was just a bunch. And instead of having like the same SHOT Show patches up there month after month after month, I just sort of stuck them all aside. So I'm going to bring all that stuff back out again and figure it all out. Because I know a couple of things were interesting, like really rare stuff, and just stuff that either it's not my style or my kind of thing, or I just want to move it onto Patreons. But I know one of them was, I think it was like, was it a 4-day set? Like a couple of the things were sets of the one place, like you put a patch on their patch panel, they give you a patch. So each day it was a different patch and you had to like kind of work to get one. So those are neat and they're huge, but I don't want them. They're not, for me, they're not my kind of thing. But for somebody who's interested in super rare patches, like those are super rare. I have no idea what they're worth, but probably worth something. Those are from, what's the that place, like Original SWAT or whatever, the boot place right by the front when you walk into the police room. So I don't know. I mean, again, those are sort of the same thing. I didn't like them. They were not my style. They were sort of busy, I guess, or maybe they were making reference to stuff I didn't get. But they were elaborate. Like they were big. They were almost probably as big in square inches or whatever as the Tic Tac one. But they were, I think they say like 2020, but in weird ways. And they're not my style, but they've got a lot of detail in them. And the one is super 3-dimensional. It's got like a big lion head that comes out. But again, I can't even imagine that. But they probably got less because they were, well, actually, I was going to say they did less because you had to trade a patch. You had to put a patch up to get one. But then if you look at how many patches went on their patch panel, it probably was closer to 500, like you're saying.
Yeah,
I don't think
like
do people who buy patches for shot, what do they typically buy? Like, do they buy hundreds or do they buy 500s?
it really depends. Like, so I've had people get like 5,000, and 50s. It really depends on the business.
That's true. Because if you're going to only give them to people, pass them off in a handshake to friends, then you don't need 50. But if you were going to be standing there in a aisle, you could probably give away more than 5,000. You could probably give away 5,000 in a day, just standing in an aisle handing them to people.
Oh shit, yeah, for sure. I mean, if you're just like, or if you just do who is it that just has like on the corners of their booth, they just have like bowls of patches?
Geisley. Thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of patches. Literally.
Yeah, probably get like a container.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah, literally. Like they probably like during SHOT Show 2020, they were already making SHOT Show 2021 patches because they were going to be giving away so many of them. They already had to start making them during SHOT Show. But yeah, that was, and then even then, like no one's going to not take them. There's things that people won't take from you. You know, when you're standing there handing it out. I'm sure the people with those magazines or even the bags, I don't take bags every time somebody tries to hand me a bag. You know, like you don't take everything, even a hat or something. I probably wouldn't take a hat from somebody who's trying to give me a weird looking hat or something. But a patch, I don't think you could give me a weird enough looking patch for free that I wouldn't take.
Oh, yeah, patches are, you know how SHOT Show is. People are going around specifically looking for patches, and they're grabbing like whatever patch they see.
So, what do you think? Let's give away secrets. I'll lock this down if it gets too many secrets. What's better than patches? What's the next best thing that'll be the thing that everybody wants at SHOT Show? Hand sanitizer.
Yeah, maybe hand sanitizer. You know what's funny is I wanted to do hand sanitizer for 2020. Like before this was a thing, because it was really just for myself. But then there was like you couldn't get any. It's like too low.
What if you made a thing like Spider-Man, except instead of squirting web, it squirts hand sanitizer?
I guess people are walking by.
I don't know. Maybe even just in your own hand. You squirt in your own hand, and you don't have to go search around for nothing.
I was gonna do a patch board this time.
Yeah, what?
Like a board.
Oh.
So you have to like leave your patch, and then you could, because somebody.
You are going to have a booth then?
I might. It depends on how shit goes.
Yeah, okay. But if you have a booth, then you're talking about having a patch swap or like a leave it and get one type of thing.
Yeah, probably like a leave it to get one or swap or something.
I don't like the swap idea because then you don't accumulate nothing good. You constantly only have the dumbest crap from everywhere. Like you either get the spam, because there's those people walking around with their patches that are usually dumb looking and like some kind of ad for their crap, and they're slapping them on everything. Like some, I'm talking about a couple of people figure out to do that, and nobody wants their goofy looking patches, and they're going to get a bunch of those, and then somebody like, I don't know, somebody with like a yellow patch or like some green one from like a reloading company or something will buy way too many and just have them in a bin, like what Geisley did. And like the Geisley ones, like whatever the ugliest Geisley one was, every patch swap will just have 13 of those, because everybody patch swaps that boring shitty one that they got 10 of. So anyway, that's what I think. It's just a waste. The patch swaps were like the girls that were like patch collectors at the company, and just like, or maybe like the person who was in charge of like the company's board, but they were like super into it. Like they were paying attention. And I don't know, there was like one little A-frame one that ended up having like 13 of the same damn, I forget what it was. Like I think it was a handcuff company in the back. They had like just their patches sitting in a big stack, like they just took their patches and they were the Velcros with the little piece of Velcro on them so that you could stick like 10 of them in a pile, and they weren't sticking together or nothing. And that's good for them, but what it means is that somebody can just come by and grab like a whole stack, or you can grab like 5 and you don't know. So that's what was happening, is people were grabbing like 5 or 10 of those and using them in all the patch swaps. Can we contract Angelina to redo the AK bolt face patch? Well, I don't know who we is and which AK bolt face patch we're talking about. Did you do one that you need to redo? I don't know if I'd sewed one once. I don't think I ever did any one besides the sewing one.
I have an AK bolt patch, a sewed one from you for sure. I didn't do a PVC one though.
Mine is shitty. Mine's like one step above homemade because I could never get. And when you look at an AK bolt face, it's all radiuses. It's like it's all at an angle. So where do you draw the line? It's like wherever you decide to draw the line is what yours going to have that character to it or whatever. It's not like an AR bolt face where there's a consistent edge where you can just draw the line for the edges or whatever, where the edges are. There's these ramps or whatever you want to call it, like you're looking at slopes. I don't know how to describe it. So whenever you look at an AK bolt face, wherever you decide to draw some of these lines on the slope is going to give your AK bolt face sort of a character. So I never dealt with that. It was like too subjective for me. So I quit trying to do that design. Plus it comes out being a weird robot looking face. And I mean, AK people know what it is, but that's all. And I just pursued it.
It'd probably be cool if you did it like extreme 3D.
That would be actually kind of neat. Like some sort of perspective, or you mean like literally use the puffiness of it to give you your bolt face? That might be neat too, actually. You've done some stuff that's got super dimension to it.
Yeah, like, so I would do like, like recess, all the recess parts and everything, like just make it super accurate. But I think you'd really have to like know what you're looking at to know what it is.
Yeah, but that would be really neat. And your place seems to be way more willing to do what you tell them to do. My place, it's not like they're unwilling. I just don't, they're only used to doing what they're used to doing. I have to like, illuminate to them what I'm actually asking them to do half the damn time when I want something strange. But anyway, yeah, it would be kind of neat. I mean, who cares if people don't know what it is? The people that do know what it is would probably appreciate it if it was sort of textured correctly or whatever. Because that's the thing, when I see some of these that are good concepts for patches, but like you can tell they just let the patch guy, the guy who drills the mold or whatever, do the art. Because whenever you default to letting the guy who works the machine do it, he's going to do it so that it's easiest, right? He's not going to do it for art. Whenever you see the best looking one I can tell that somebody probably is swearing every time they build one because it's not made for production and speed. You know, it's made for detail and design or whatever. So that's the difference. Like you are able to get detail that you want. Like your Liberty Bell, my place would never do that. They'd be like, no.
Well, the way that I get that kind of shit out is because I do the 3D. Like I send the mold proof basically. So like I have to figure out how to do it. And then they slice it.
Right. Right, this is another one of those awkward parts. There's 14 people watching this. Every single one of you, they have to look at the radio dial and find out if it was static or if your power went out. And it's everybody's fault for not saying nothing. Ants was saying something. DTP kind of said something from out there. Like Rob said stuff. Woods is saying stuff, and he's in here, which is basically doing twice the work of some of these people.
He's an overachiever.
Huh?
So Woods is an overachiever.
He gets it done.
Patriot had a question earlier to go up for Angelina.
What?
Oh.
Patriot,
Is there a moon that you
there is.
Is there a moon that you'd be okay with to add to a new sticker patch? I don't know what that means. Is that code for something? Angelina, is there a moon that you'd be okay with the add to? I'm saying this wrong. There's got to be a typo in here.
I don't know. I don't know what this means.
Patriot, we need more information here.
Yeah, more information is needed.
Something typoed. What we got was, is there a moon that you'd be okay with to add to a new sticker patch?
Was it when you were talking about redoing your logo, maybe?
My logo?
Well, not your logo, but you made your owl patch, your new owl thing with the Adidas.
It doesn't have a moon in it though. Oh, his logo has a moon though.
All right, now Bob's talking about too small, of course. Next project is addition. Good place to live while I build my tiny house. So, tiny houses. Left or right, are you getting a tiny house? Angelina, tiny house, yes or no?
I would.
Woods, tiny house? Yes or no?
Hell no.
Barbecue, tiny house?
Negative.
Interesting. No, I didn't say only tiny house. So you're all fuckers. You could have got a tiny house for nothing. Angelina gets free tiny house. So yeah, I'm going to take a tiny house. You could have that in the backyard, or you could put it somewhere. It's a tiny house. But some of them are neat.
Where like the furniture folds into other things. It's like a table and a bed, and
That kind of stuff is cool. I think I'd rather just be like, I'll have like the bed and a table, and I don't need like 16 iterations of a chair. You know what I mean? Like I don't have like 16 people coming over that are different sizes. I'm just gonna deal with having simple stuff. I don't need to have like all kinds of fragile stuff that's complexly folded into my other shit. But I don't know. I mean, there's different styles, I guess. I'm thinking more of like a cabin or something where it's just small and simple, but some of them are more like RVs, I guess, where you're thinking more like camper or like, little tiny kitchen and like a little apartment or something, like a Japanese efficiency type of thing.
that's where you fooled me. I lived in both Portland and in Seattle, so I'm thinking the actual little like it's a shed that's converted into a house.
Yeah, like a little mini version of everything you already got.
Like where you put your mom when she's old, you don't want her in your house.
That's what I was thinking too.
If you said cabin, I would have said hell to the yes.
So Patriots saying Angelina didn't like my logo with moon, so I was wondering if she had better moon.
Not off the top of my head, but I'm sure you can find something.
So what are you probably talking about? The gradient, though?
Yeah, well, because it's like a raster moon and like a vector art. So it's like it looks a little out of place, but it's kind of cool because it's like a silhouette of, not a silhouette, like a shadow of a moon. Like the opacity is low.
You used a bunch of words that I don't know what they mean.
Yeah, I do that.
I'm sure there are arty words and like design words, but I don't know what I meant.
Well, like taking a photograph and putting it in the middle of a cartoon. It just the juxtaposition of real life, or like a photograph of version, photograph of real life, or whatever word it is, like versus cartoony abstract version. Or I guess putting a picture, a photograph onto a billboard where there's a bunch of just telephone number and graphic of the logo, but then a photograph. It works, but then on the other hand, it's two different things put together. Makes the eyes pay attention in a different way than makes you stop and look instead of just glance and get the info like a billboard. It's not
Look at
like
learning stuff here on the DGS.
huh?
Learning stuff on here on the DGS.
It's Monday. Technically, this should be how to work the tools and inspire people to dig in and be part of it. I haven't had too many conversations with other people, at least definitely not with people that aren't similar mindset or whatever. But yeah, I think definitely a lot of potential for people to be inspired to do stuff or whatever. I think there's still worth, I guess, in inspiring people to do stuff. I think there's a whole lot of people that just don't participate in the system, and there's nothing but incentive for people to quit participating or to feel it's futile to participate, and I don't feel that way. So I think well, I guess I was asking about tiny houses. So DTP is saying tiny house would be cool in the middle of nowhere. In a neighborhood of tiny houses, not so much. See, I don't know about that. There are some little neighborhoods of tiny houses, and that seems interesting. But who the hell is going to live in a tiny house, and do you want to live with those people? Like right around those people? I'll take a tiny house if I can also have a huge outbuilding for all my junk. That's sort of the thing, right? Like have a tiny house, but then you've got your something else, your hangar, or you've got your boat, or you've got your something else, or your something that you do. Like I go camping all the time and I got my tiny house or something. Yeah, like your RV where you're vacationing and then you come back to your tiny house. Like as your home base, I could see a tiny house being appealing. Angelina explained it as the photo of the moon drawn over with crayon. So like doing a texture thing, like if you had or are you saying like traced over? Like if you put a piece of paper down and try to trace over somebody's photograph of the moon? Like the loss of detail? Probably what you meant. Tiny house, big workshop. The other thing would be having some sort of a range facility like the place in New Mexico. The, what do you call that place? I can't think of the NRA range in New Mexico. Dang it. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about, right? That big ass range in northern New Mexico.
I mean, I've heard of it. I haven't heard you talk about it. I've never seen it.
Anyway, but if you don't talk about it, it's a giant range, middle of New Mexico, and lots of stuff to do there. But that would be a kind of place. Have a tiny house there, and then, it's sort of like your base or whatever, your place to go there. You got your stuff, place to lay down or whatever, but not too huge, so you're not wasting a bunch of time having a huge vacation house somewhere like that.
Tiny house by Dragon Man.
Yeah, exactly. Or maybe by a lake or something like that, right? So that's where I could see having a tiny house as a vacation house. And have you ever had like a vacation house, or have you ever gone to like a, I guess nowadays you go to like a Airbnb type of thing that's in a neighborhood of vacation homes. But anyway, like back in the day, you'd go to like where vacation homes were, maybe in a nice looking area or a rural area. I don't know. You can kind of tell when you're looking at vacation homes, and they look nice or whatever, but they're just a waste of space. Like there's a ton of, very few of them, and in a big area. And that's where I think it might be neat to have an option where you have a bunch of little tiny vacation homes where you still get all the, basically, like I just said, place to home base at when you're in an area, but now you go fishing or you go canoeing or whatever the hell it is you do, hunting or sightseeing or whatever you in the area, but you have a very small vacation home. So I could see having a second home or a vacation home as a tiny home, I guess is what I was getting at.
Yeah, up by where you go hunting, maybe.
Yeah, or around a lake, or all those kind of things. I could see having, or maybe as a timeshare, have a little tiny home as a instead of a timeshare. I can make it.
I could never do the timeshare. I don't want anybody touching my stuff.
That's what I'm saying. So you get a little tiny home, it stays yours. It's just that instead of having to have a giant, vacation second home that's a, giant, I was going to say mansion, a little tiny place. First house I bought didn't even go inside. I bought it for the 60/60 pole barn. Dang. Be nice to be able to buy a house and not even go inside of it.
It's a big ass building, 60 by 80.
Yeah, I'd take that.
You could have like a full on fucking baseball game in there.
I just want to live in the pole barn.
All right. Well, we're an hour 47 into this thing, and we're having a conversation at this point. So thanks everybody for joining in. But I think I'm going to end it because otherwise, what happens is they into all my effective nighttime temperature, effective work time. So as much fun as it is, it doesn't make me any money. So I got to go do stuff that tries to make me money. So I think I'm going to end it. Angelina took off. So I don't know if you all have anything you want to throw in here as we head out.
I'm back now, though.
Oh, okay. I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to hit on or address, or if you were going to get something that you wanted to show off or whatever.
No. I'm okay.
I think one of the problems is I've been looking at the comments through El Pato, and El Pato doesn't give a shit, El Shito, about putting them in order. So I think I'm seeing things kind of in almost a random order, at least not, I'm seeing them shuffled. I think some of these comments have come in shuffled. But I think we're done. I don't think I've seen a comment come in since Patriot said something. Did it go? No, he said something about it for sex wife. Really like that. But otherwise, thanks everybody for showing up, and we'll be back to pick you up later then.